Nick Hall is with us today. Nick's an evangelist with Pulse out of the United States. And we got a chance to see Nick in person next week, sharing the good news of Jesus. And not only that, the one and only Micah Tyler is going to be joining him. It's called the Reason Tour. It's coming through Grand Forks. Nick, tell us a little bit about the reason behind the Reason Tour, what this night's going to look like in Grand Forks.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, man, first off, thanks for having me on. So excited to be coming back home. I was born in Grand Forks, grew up between Grand Forks and Fargo, and actually the reason was birthed because I remember growing up and having Christmas concerts be just a part of the holiday routine, right? You would go see whether it was the Blenders or Lori Line or
Nice.
some choir concert at a local church. And so as soon as we had the chance, we had launched Pulse out in North Dakota, and we just said, what would it look like to bring generations together around this season of Christmas and really just tell the story? Because man, Christmas gets so distracting, it can be stressful, but I think the reason is an event where we want to point people to Jesus, to remember the good news of this season, to remember it's not about all the hustle and bustle, but that there is one who pierced the darkness and opened up our hearts. And it's our prayer that this will just be a Christmas revival of sorts.
It's very cool because, like you said, like we get very distracted at Christmas time, even on Christian radio stations, right? There's a lot of things going on, and sometimes we can get pulled away from really, as they say, the greatest story ever told. Maybe a great event to bring friends to that don't know Jesus too. Then,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the prayer. We try to make it accessible, and this is definitely an outreach event. Our hope is that whether it's your kids or grandkids, whether it's your coworker, your neighbor, your classmate, the thing I like to remind people of Christmas is it's the one time of year when grandma and granddaughter will listen to the same music and both will
yeah,
be okay with it. And so it is the music, the season does bring us together. And I think it's great. Like bring your kid, bring your neighbor, bring everybody, and it's going to be a relevant event. And we're just going to have a blast.
now, so you've got Micah Tyler coming to sing, and I'm guessing you're sharing a message about Jesus in the midst of this as well. Are you going to be singing with Micah maybe too, then joining him for some songs or?
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. We have a kids choir every night.
Nice.
Gonna be a part of it, and yeah, it's gonna be a special night. Yeah, storytelling, music, celebration of Christmas. I think it's just a good Christmas, kickoff for all the people that are just starting to play the music, starting to get all the decorations up, and just saying, man, let's just celebrate and let's make this Christmas about what matters most.
Now, you have dedicated a good chunk of your life to sharing the good news of Jesus. Tell us a little bit about your ministry, Pulse, and the heart behind that.
Yeah, so Pulse started actually, it was a group of us that were mostly from North Dakota, some from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Montana, but we were college kids in North Dakota at North Dakota State, and we were just praying for God to move on our campus, and basically out of that prayer, I wrote this paper in my English class titled Pulse, and so Pulse started as a paper at NDSU. And that was in 2004. I wrote that paper, and so it's been 19 years that it kind of has exploded into something that sent us around the world, and we've seen hundreds of millions of people hear the gospel. And yeah, it's just I think of it as it's a new generation finding a way to talk about what matters most. Billy Graham was a mentor of mine, Luis Palau,
Wow.
yeah, Josh McDowell. And so we've kind of taken the baton from those that have gone before and said, man, we want to reach a new generation. We want to rally the church again back to the good news of the gospel. And that's really our heart at Pulse. And that's also the heart of this campaign. We're launching a whole statewide campaign in North Dakota. The next 2 years, we want to blanket the whole state with the gospel.
Very cool. We got to connect with you and see how we can bring that a little bit north, maybe up into Manitoba as
Come
well.
on, let's do it.
Uh,
Let's do it.
Tell me really quick, what was Billy Graham like in real life then?
Yeah, very, very humble man. I remember I got to spend a little over an hour with him at his house, was the last meeting I had with him. And, I came with all these questions of, being married and being a dad and being a preacher. And, the thing they would say about Billy Graham is he had Bibles open all over his house. And he would kind of like just stop and, read a little bit here and stop and read a little bit there. But, it was like every question I asked him, he would be so reflective and he would say, man, it's a great question. You really need to spend time with Jesus. And I just think there was just such a single-mindedness about his life, right? He wasn't there to talk about all the current issues of the day. He wasn't there to get into the weeds of division. Man,
Hmm.
he just wanted people to know that God loved them and that Jesus died for him, and that relationship changed everything. So I just found him to be incredibly humble, incredibly kind man.
And you being an evangelist, how about you give us like your top tip for those of us who maybe you're scared, right? You hold back on sharing your faith. You don't want to, turn friends off and push them away. What's the best way we can be sharing the good news of Jesus every day with people?
Yeah, I tell people, I mean, two things. One is pray. Like I think that the most forsaken tool in the toolbox of the Christian is our prayer life. And I would just encourage everybody to start praying for people who need Jesus, and specifically make a little note card, write down the names of people that that don't know the Lord, and start praying for them every day. And I guarantee you, if you pray for them and you pray for opportunities with them, this is the prayer that God delights to answer. And
Huh.
so we're praying for it. I'm praying for Mike. God, help me when I see Mike again. Lord, I pray for his family. I pray for, just you're being caring, And
Yeah.
then the second thing is I would just encourage people that evangelism is less about what you need to say and more about listening. And so I think the more you take the pressure off yourself and say, like, I'm going to pray for people, and then I'm going to go out and actively care for them and listen to them and ask how they're doing and check in. And, those are the two starter points. But we have a training that's free online called Make Jesus Known. People can check that out. And it's just a 4-part encouraging people with some tools. But you start with prayer and listening, and you're going to be okay.
I love it. And now the Reason Tour, it starts tonight in Jamestown, November 29th. All over North Dakota, we should mention. So for those of you, maybe you're listening in Western Manitoba, hey, they're coming to Minot on December 2nd. But Grand Forks is December 7th. I have tickets for that. We're going to give away right away here. And Fargo on the 10th as well. There's some other dates. We'll share all those. But really lots of opportunities. And for our North Dakota listeners, I know we've got some just across the border. So yeah, lots of opportunities to take in this special night and share the good news of Jesus with your friends. Nick, anything you want people to know before we let you go?
Yeah, I just love Manitoba. Tons of family trips growing up, fishing with my dad. And, it's funny being from North Dakota, people in America kind of think we're Canadian more than we are
Yeah.
American. And,
Yeah.
and we know a lot of Manitobans would come shopping all the time. And so I just would say, man, let's unite and let's make much of Jesus. We're from humble. Well, I think both Manitobans and North Dakotans understand being from a humble part of your country.
Yeah.
But man, we're the frozen chosen, and it's time to point to what matters most.
Hey, let's get as excited for sharing the good news of Jesus as we do for going to Target and Grand Forks, Winnipeggers, right?
That's right. That's right.
Right on, Nick. Well, we hope it's an amazing run across North Dakota. We'll be praying for that as well. And yeah, we're going to share all the links for people to get tickets on our website and app right away here and give some away.
Thanks so much,
Per-
Mike.